What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Flyin Style Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Steven Maslij.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, Steve. How's it going? Coming back to you on a Thursday afternoon, coming back from an Eagles win against the Packers, 10-7. It was a brutal battle. It was back and forth. It was a defensive showdown. Not a lot to say on offense for either side. What are your initial thoughts about the game, buddy?
A 0-0 halftime, just what you love to see. You know, we came out the gates. We had an 8-minute drive and a nice fumble. Right before we were about to get in the red zone. It was terrific. This very stagnant game, back and forth. Like I said, defensive battle. Bad play calling battle. Who could call the worst play call? On the Packers side, you know, LaFleur is calling inside zones on every single third and short. And then on us, we like to punt on third down. So we did this thing where when we know we can't get in the first two, we just you know, run it out the middle or get Will Shipley in there, get him the ball and get him a couple of yards. You know, it's very frustrating from offensive perspective. Defensively, 3 sacks, one of them going to Kobe Dean, who also forced a fumble. Nolan Smith got recorded a sack, which was kind of not a sack, but it's line of scrimmage, but it was recorded a sack. Jalis Hunt played a really good game in here, and then Jalen Phillips played fantastic all over. Deflected passes, made the game-winning play essentially. When you come down to it, our defense played great. It's a hard game. I mean, you win on the road in Lambeau, Monday Night Football game. I can't really complain that we won. However, I'm going to complain about the offense. But we're going to get into that. But yeah, what do you take away from this? What do you think? And how do you feel?
It was an interesting one. Obviously, it was. I don't want to say that it was a great win. Let's start there. First of all, it's great win against another good team, fighting for position in their division and also in the conference. So, you know, that has, like we said before in our last podcast, that had, you know, playoff atmosphere and, you know, playoff, you know, implications involved in that one. So that was a huge win for us, regardless of the way that it looked. On the other hand, if we're going to get critical, you know, the offense was very stagnant. I think that it actually started out pretty well, and the offense started out on a drive, a 12-play drive that was chewing up clock. I think it was past like 8 minutes, and you know, you're running it down right towards the red zone, and unfortunately, Jalen fumbled on a ball that was just inches from touching the ground before he was down. So, you know, definitely unfortunate. You don't see Jalen turn the ball over too much anymore, so it was definitely a shocker and took a lot of wind out of the sails of the team. Like, after such a long, hard drive, you were really like pounding it down on them, but you were only picking up tiny little chunks every play. I think we were at like 15 plays that drive. So, yeah. I mean, it was definitely a heartbreaker when that happened. And then you just kind of lost all momentum that you had past that point. After that, you kind of started to see, you know, some stagnant drives, a lot of 3-and-outs, which, speaking of the 3-and-outs, we've been talking about that a lot this year. And the Eagles do a really bad job of putting themselves in third and long situations and then have a tendency to just not go for it on third down. Like, they just concede the drive, which is one of the strangest things in the world to me. And actually, while I'm on that point, I need to use that to double down on another point that I'm about to make. And it's the fact that we love to talk about the fact that this team likes to be, you know, aggressive and likes to, you know, try to push the ball on 4th down, and, you know, it's all about making these aggressive decisions, including the one that you had at the end of the game that was, we'll get into in a couple minutes. But you see all these aggressive calls all the time, and then we just end drives on 3rd down. Please tell me where the correlation is and the rhyme or reason to when we're aggressive and when we're not, because why do we decide to just not try to advance the ball at the end of the half or on 3rd and long? But, you know, 4th and 6 at the 50-yard line, you know, with 23 seconds left, yeah, let's bomb it deep. Like, what are we talking about? And it's starting to come to a, you know, full circle for me, to a point where I feel like this is the coach's problems at this point. Like, I'm getting really sick of the coaching staff and lack of accountability that they're having in this situation, especially with AJ taking all this blame right now. And obviously he is to blame because he's a captain, and the way he's handling this situation is incredibly poor, and doing it all publicly is just hurting the team and making everything a distraction. But on the other hand, he absolutely has a point. And he's fed up with how poor this play calling is and how inconsistent it is. And Kevin Patullo is absolutely the problem. And there's no consistency to our play calling. There is no rhyme or reason to our play calling. And last but not least, there is just no there's no, I don't even know what to say about it. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no rhythm. There's no bouncing off of plays with each other, which we've talked about a million times. And it just hurts the team. And we've had a couple weeks where the offense did play well and the play calling was good, but then we just revert right back to the same things we were doing when we were complaining before. And I don't really understand what it is. And we've talked about as a fan base many times that when you got a guy like A.J. Brown, it shouldn't be hard to scheme those guys open. It feels like you do for Devontae Smith. It feels like you have ways of getting other people open, and like Dallas Goedert with those little rollout passes you kept running all the time. You're like, you could even include that. Like, you could do that for A.J. Brown. You could do that for A.J. Brown, but you choose not to. It almost feels like they're like, the coaching staff is almost punishing A.J. by not getting him, like not trying to get him the ball as often. And I keep hearing that like, this play was planned for A.J. This play was planned for A.J. It certainly doesn't. The situation's getting weird because I don't know who to blame anymore. I see multiple times where it feels like A.J. takes the play off. But then I also see plays where it looks like he just was not schemed to be in the play. And I also see, plays where he's wide open and he's not getting the ball. So, like, of course, like every bad situation, it's not like just one person is at fault. There's many people at fault. Jalen misses him sometimes. The coaches don't plan him open nearly often enough. And the way AJ handles all of this is a bunch of baloney. But these are the three most important people on the team. Like, they need to figure it out to get this team on the right page and to get it where it needs to go. And you're seeing this week everything coming to a boiling point with all of that. Nick Sirianni's tired of answering the questions. AJ's just being truthful at this point because he's sick of being cryptic. And Jalen is obviously just frustrated, like having to hear about it all the time. He just wants to be left alone to do his work. And the whole team is exhausted of it as well. So, I think this game, while important that we were able to get this win against a good team and shows how resilient we are, really solidified that they need to get something figured out in the offensive room to get this on the right track, because it just shouldn't be this hard to have a productive offense with this many productive pieces. Like, it just shouldn't be hard. You have so many options and so many different directions you can go. How can these offenses with one star player on, like, I don't even know what team to use as an example. Let's just say, let's just say the Buccaneers, for example, okay? Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are all out, and they have Emeka Egbuka, a rookie who just joined the system this year. How are they able to scheme him open so often to get him the ball anywhere on the field? Like, it seems pretty simple for them. So, like, I've been rambling for a little bit. You talk to me. Like, I'm just getting a little bit fed up with this situation. What do you think about it all?
It's bottom line. It's just Sirianni trying not to. He's playing very controversial because we keep winning this way. I'm not controversial. Conservative is the word I meant to use. We keep winning this way. How many picks does Jalen have on a year? 1, 2?
1. Yeah, he's got one.
One pick, and it's weak. Like, it's.
But my issue. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off again. But just to bounce off of that. But my issue is that it feels like when Jalen's given the opportunity to open up, he still isn't turning the ball over. But why do we only give him the option to open up every so often? Like, why is it like, I just don't get it. No,
it makes zero sense, but we keep winning this way. And look at his team. Then you look at the record as 7-2. And this is why AJ's so mad. This is why, I understand him at this point. And I'm done. I'm done beating around the bush and everything of like, oh, he's being annoying. He's right. At this point, right. It's annoying.
It was never that he was wrong. It's the way that he handled it is wrong. When you have a C on your chest, you have to act right. And you don't do it with this petty bullcrap to the public, to the media, letting people make their own narratives about it. You handle it in-house and you talk about it. And to his point, we always love to talk about how good of a leader Jalen is. I don't hear Jalen fixing this situation either. Like whatever's happening is petty as hell. And it's really frustrating that they can't just figure it out in-house. I don't really know who's at fault.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, are they actually listening to him in the house? Maybe that's one of the reasons he started doing this whole thing. Like,
exactly. Like, I mean, he probably felt like there was no other way to get heard unless he made it heard. Like, and I'm not like, it's a weird spot where I'm not in a spot where I want to defend AJ because I still think, like I said, handled it poorly. But I do think that everyone in the room knows that he has a point. And, I just hope that it gets through to the coaches because I don't really understand what the limitations are here. It feels like the coaches are actively limiting the offense and nobody seems to understand why. I'd love to just hear answers. That's all I want. I'm sick of hearing Nick Sirianni never answer a single question that anyone asks him. And I'm sick of AJ giving cryptic tweets. And I'm sick of Jalen staying silent. Like, I just want everyone to, like, do something about it. Like,
well, the issue is, Matt, they're not going to do anything until you get demolished or lose. And then at that point, it might all fall apart. Because if we were having a losing record right now, this team would be done. Let's just be completely honest. Because you go the whole winning cures all, like, mentality ends with this drama that's behind the scenes right now.
Bug on my counter. It's been flying around the whole time.
You got
been trying to get it. I don't know if you've seen me like consistently just like poking places. It's been driving me nuts. But continue, my bad.
But like even to that point, like it's like even like look at you don't hear Saquon do anything. I mean, do we even remember him having 2,000 yards last year? Because I don't at this point. AJ's the 50th receiver, and like there's Trey Tucker has more yards than him. I was hearing today. You can name so many names. So many running backs have more receiving yards than AJ. I mean, it's the fact that we keep winning that Sirianni's going to keep playing conservative, keep play calling conservative, and I don't know if they care. I don't know if they see it, and I don't know if Jalen even wants to do it because like he looks scared to throw an interception. Which again, if our defense keeps playing as well and we keep winning, what's the problem with it, Matt? Like we keep winning. What is the problem? You can't tell them there's a problem.
Well, it's actually interesting because you're hearing that there's a clear philosophy problem between the two sides because like AJ's saying like, yes, we're winning, but it doesn't look good and it might not be sustainable. And you've got the other side saying, it doesn't matter how it looks, we're winning. And They just can't seem to meet in the middle. And like, it's frustrating because like neither side is technically wrong, but I don't really understand why we have to get so frustrated about it either. Like I'm on team we're winning, so you should really just shut up. Like it is like for me as a fan. Now I'm not the one in the situation, so I actually try to understand from AJ's perspective as often as I possibly can. But from the fans' perspective, it's hard for me to look at this situation and not be like, listen, you are 7-2 and you're making $120+ million. Like, what more do you want? Like, I understand you want to feel like you're a part of everything. For the past 4 to 5 years, you have been. God forbid, like just that, in these past 7 games, you haven't been, and it hasn't been every single game. He's been a huge part of like 3 of them. But aside from that point, it's just like, at what point do you stop needing to be selfish? There is a part of AJ that needs to like look in the mirror and be like, all right, like, do I really need to be taking the team down for my gain here? Like, I understand that his point is also to get the offense rolling the way he thinks it should be. But I think you also have to be realistic in the sense that the offense is what it is this year. The play caller is not going to change in the middle of the season. You can, keep giving your criticisms as much as you want, but it's not going to look a whole lot different than it currently does. You might start to find more of a rhythm if everybody buys in. But I feel like, trying to fundamentally change the way the offense is going to work at this point is just not conceivable. And I actually heard a good point said about A.J. Brown this week about the year that A.J. was having his best season was also the same time that Jalen threw his most picks. And that's because, A.J. is not always the guy that's going to beat you on, on just like separation balls. Like you throw a 50-50 ball to AJ and he can go up and get those. And like you said, we've turned the philosophy to don't turn the ball over. So that has obviously become less of a point in our game plan. Then back on the other side, I still get frustrated that, like, how can we get Devontae open so often, but we can't get AJ open? I know you can do it. Like, I just know you can. And why we're not doing it for AJ, I don't really understand. So sorry that I keep going on these rants, but it has been bothering me for quite a while now, obviously, as every other Eagles fan has been as well.
No, it's ridiculous. And it's kind of this stinks. Because you have this winning football team tied for first in NFC, and it's like, well, are we looking for ways to complain? Now, like in this game, like Hurst didn't play a great game, but like again, people in Philly also, just Philly fans in general, just want to complain about like everything. And I don't think we're trying to be that way. We're just trying to be critical of this team. Like we could see the bright aspects in our defense and like how well the defense played and everything, but this is like even going back to the call on 4th and 6 at the Green Bay's 35. Like, what do you can go for it at the sticks. Like, if you really want to call game, like you can do like concepts that you don't have to just throw a 50-50 ball up and do double covers for AJ.
Exactly.
Like I'm not even mad were you mad about them going for it? Like, would you rather them punt it to like
not really? Like, I wasn't like, I personally, to be honest, the way it like played out, I wasn't even fully aware of like what was happening. I was kind of just like, I kind of just like turned around and I was like, wait a second. They did just leave 23 seconds on the clock and they're at like the 40-yard line. For a second, my heart sunk because I was like, wait, they can win this game. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. They would only tie it anyway. And I was like, I was just kind of like, it wasn't a smart move, but it was kind of, the issue I think everybody has is just kind of like, what did you really think you were going to get out of that? Like, was the risk worth the reward by any means? And the answer is no. I mean, you just probably shouldn't have done it. Should you have just run the ball instead? Most likely. Like, should you have just run like a slant route or just try to get somebody open just past the sticks? Probably. Like, I agree with you in the sense that I don't think that going for it was the issue. I think throwing a long 50-50 ball was just not really necessary.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like, let's think about this though. Even then, like, I'm not saying there's much of a chance if he catches the ball. Green Bay still gets the ball back, so that's not game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. I'm not saying they're able. It's pretty improbable that they came back, but if you give Green Bay the ball at all, even if they are down,
well, if they score, there's only 20 seconds left on the clock, and it's a 10-point game. I mean,
yeah, I know, but it's still you've seen crazy things happen. Like,
I don't know that I've seen anything crazier than that.
I've seen that. I've seen it happen with the Lions when they had T.J. Hawkinson. They did that when people don't go down right before. It's crazy. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah,
but, like the Bears game. Do you remember that?
What?
The Bears Bengals earlier this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the same scenario because that was just a shootout and back and forth and whatever. They were down 8 and then they ended up scoring 2. Whatever. Regardless, but this game it sucks. I hope the Lions beat the brakes off us. It's just what I'm getting into.
Really?
I really want them to.
I certainly do not, because this is a game I've been looking forward to for a long time, and I think that if you come out of this game with a win, that this is kind of the one that makes you feel like all is well, like who can beat you if they can. So like I feel like if you win this game and come out of it 8-2, the confidence is through the roof, and you're kind of going to run away with that 1 seed at that point, in my opinion. So like this is kind of a huge game to me. But I don't get me wrong, I understand your point. So get into that for a minute. Tell me why.
No, I don't actually want the. I'm more scared of the Lions than I am any team in NFL right now. And I'll be completely honest. I mean, this team has the most points in the league that they scored this year. I mean, they've been back and forth. But even like last week, like Dan Campbell took over play calling, and like instead, like when they lost one game, now they don't. The Colts do. Sorry, but Dan Campbell, their offense is ridiculous. When they're on, and Dan Campbell took over play calling when they were not struggling, but then they killed the Commanders. They could put up 60 in that game if they wanted to keep going their foot on the gas. But this team scares me. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, their defense isn't like better than ours, but their offense has certainly been clicking. and they've been able to get their guys involved whenever they want. Like Jamison Williams hasn't played that good of a game. They just picked on a bad corner in Washington and just kept throwing in the ball. And then you see what happens. He had over 120 yards and a touchdown. Like I'm scared of this team. And I know we could get Jared Goff and whatnot, but I'm more scared of this team than the Colts, the Patriots, the Broncos. Like, I don't know. What do you think about this game? I don't know.
No, I'm totally with you on that. I think that this team is probably I think including last year, they've been the scariest team in the NFL other than us. I think they've been a team that I was always the most worried to run into. Not even just based on matchups, but just based on how creative and how overpowered their offense can be, and how well, like you said, how good they are at getting the most out of their offense. Like
crazy.
I talked to you about this the other day, and being greedy, I was talking about man, if you imagine this offense, if they had a coordinator like Ben Johnson before he became the head coach of the Bears, and of course it's greedy of me as an Eagles fan with a team that has one of the most talented rosters you've ever seen, but if you had a coach that can pull the absolute most out of your guys, use their strengths to make plays around them and be creative and use them in different ways that you're not going to expect, and you can use something new every game. That's what the Lions do, and the Eagles don't do a good job of that. We haven't had it. While Kellen Moore, I'm not going to say was a bad play caller. I thought that he was just he was just good. I thought that he did his job. I thought there were times that I got annoyed at his play calling, and times that I was yeah, that was a good play call. So nothing to complain about with Kellen Moore. But everything pretty much everything outside of that for the past 4 or 5 years has been pretty brutal. So maybe who am I forgetting? Up until Steichen. So past 4 years, I'm talking about. Well, I guess it's 3.
Yeah, I mean, Kellen Moore only won us the Super Bowl and murdered the Chiefs and murdered the.
Yeah, but it took a whole season of complaining to get to that point as well.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's what they're doing. They're hiding it all. Just like the Rams game. Let's go down 24-3 at half, and then we'll open up the offense.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what to think about the play calling situations that happen with this team. I'm not really sure, but I just hope that they have the sense to elevate it enough to keep us, not only motivated, but with momentum, moving forward, because if we can win this game and keep stride, nobody's going to catch us. So in football, it's not like baseball. I think in baseball, we're starting to feel like that bye week isn't very worth it. But in football, I don't think there's anything that's more worth it. So, I think that they should absolutely be looking to put their best foot forward in this game. Not that they don't any week, but, I think that we talked about this, a week or two ago, but these 2 games are really big for the outcome of the season.
Yeah, no, this might be the biggest game of the year, and it's not even just because it's just how it's set up right now. I mean, the Lions win this game, Seattle loses. Lions jump to number 1. I don't know no, they don't. They jump to number 2 if Seattle loses. Whatever.
Seattle's the scariest team at this very moment. Am I more scared of the Seahawks than the Lions though? No. I'm using my terms a little loosely, I guess. I shouldn't be using the same terms for them. The Seahawks are currently playing the best, but the Lions are the scariest. The Lions have the most potential to beat the crap out of you, and for it to be 100% real. It's not fraudulent. You don't know if it's real or not. Seahawks, I think, are playing with a lot of momentum, a lot of stride. Everything is clicking for them. I just don't think they have the talent over there that if everything wasn't clicking for them, I don't even think that they're a good, that great of a team. I think they're just mediocre.
I mean, we're going to see this week. They're playing the Rams, and we'll see if they're legit. I mean,
they certainly seem legit this year. They've played some good teams, and they've played good games. I just, they're certainly shocking me. I just I'm not fully bought in on them yet. I'm 80% bought in on them at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 playoff teams they beat, or they lost to Tampa Bay, was 1 playoff team, and then they beat the Steelers and lost to San Fran. So any playoff team they want, they're 1-2. Just putting that out there.
I thought they played a couple other good teams.
They played Arizona, Washington, Houston, I guess the Jags are technically in the playoffs.
Yeah,
maybe. I guess they're pretty good. And Saints, they did win last week. Arizona again, and they lost to Tampa Bay. Pittsburgh, they did win, but like they're it's annoying because like I look at that and I'm like they didn't really play.
It feels very similar to the Vikings of last year with Sam Darnold, actually, because the Vikings were in a similar situation where they're like 13 wins, and you're like, all right, at what point do we start acting like this team is good? But like none of us thought they were good, like it took until 13 wins to give them their credit. Like, I feel like it's kind of the same way with the Seahawks. And maybe it's just because of Sam Darnold's repertoire and his, early career lack of success. But I don't know. I just don't see this. I can't name you almost anybody on the Seahawks is my issue, I guess. Like, I can name you a few players over there. Like, obviously, I know you've got Kenneth Walker, but he's not even the main back. And you've got JSN, who's the best receiver in the league right now. And then on the defensive side, I know Reek Woolen, and he doesn't even play anymore. And Josh Job's actually playing really well over there, which is funny. And Kobe Bryant, he's on that team.
Yeah, Leonard Williams is tied for.
I obviously don't remember Kobe Bryant for Kobe. Don't remember him for his football play.
He has a good 2 picks on here. I mean,
my point is they're a really good team. They're just kind of out of nowhere, so I don't have full faith in them yet.
Yeah,
that is not just like riding a fire.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for this week though. It's gonna be. I mean, you look at the Lions. They are very much stacked like us. Like Gibbs. I mean, we don't have a duo like Gibbs and Montgomery, but like Saquon, Gibbs, talent wise, I know Gibbs is playing better this year. Then you got like Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams, double tangent, and then Slane Laporta is a great young tight end. It's
and a good O-line.
Yeah, and they got Penei Sewell, best left tackle, probably in the league now because Jordan Mailata wants to fall over in front of Saquon. Just kidding.
That was pretty funny, honestly.
Thank you.
I felt bad for Mailata when that happened. As a former O-lineman, I know the feeling, and I know he was just kind of sitting there like, oh fuck, like, oh, mind my language, like he was just kind of like, oh man, like he's right behind me and I can't do anything about it.
And I can't move, and he's gonna keep running into me because I was trying to create the hole.
I just
know he was like, linemen are on the injury report, so that's cool.
You said none of them, not even Cam Jurgens.
4 out of 5 of them.
Oh, 4 out of 5 of them.
Yeah, Cam Jurgens. I don't even know if he's playing this week, but he's been out since week 7. So, yeah. So, that's fun. That's also part of this team that we're missing. We don't have the best O-line in the league this year.
No, we do not.
Regardless of name, it's just they haven't played up to that standard, and it's not as much fun. But
I'm certainly still having as much fun. In the past 4 years, we've gone 8-1, 8-1, 7-2, and 7-2. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
No, but it's hard to be mad.
It's frustrating because it feels like it's been like, listen, the Eagles' success is what makes everything so hard to enjoy and or complain about as an Eagles fan, because the Eagles' success makes you like forget things. Like, we won the Super Bowl last year, but we spent every single week asking if the offense was sustainable. Like we have dealt with like, the collapse in 2023, this stuff going on right now. It's just, there's always something going on with the Eagles, and it's frustrating because they do so well, but like, it's just frustrating because it feels like you're at no point are you ever getting the full potential out of the Eagles team. And it's frustrating to watch that on the field every week. Like, can I actively complain about it? Not really, because we are winning so often. Like, I shouldn't be complaining about it. I have no reason to complain about it. But it's not like it's just me. You see it, and so does all of Philadelphia for the past 4 years. We're always still longing for something, and it's not for no reason. And it's because it feels like this team has a million different ways they should be winning, and we are struggling with it. So, it's definitely computer dying over there.
Yeah, dying.
but it's just frustrating to, see you leaving potential on the field. I think it's everybody's problem. And you can look at it on one side, like we've been talking about, and say, who cares if they win? And you can look at it on the other side and say, yes, they're winning, but that doesn't mean they can't still improve, right? Like, why not go for more? Because they certainly can. My frustration with it is that it feels like they kind of run in place every time that it happens. Like every time it feels like they have a little bit more that you can get out of them, you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back with them every single time. And it's just like you're just kind of stuck in place at all times with the Eagles offense. It doesn't matter who the play caller is or how it's going. Like it's just like there's always something that we're longing for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So getting into this game, how do you see it going? What's your score prediction?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Obviously, I hate to keep going all these high scores, but it's going to be hard to expect the Lions not to score a lot of points. And if I want to expect the Eagles to be keeping up in this game, which I do think they're more than capable of, they're going to have to be doing the same thing. I don't think it's going to be as drastic as some people might think it's going to be. I'm thinking it's going to be like 24 to 30.
Right.
Eagles are going to win. Sorry, 30 to 24. My apology. Yeah. Should have said.
I like that. I like it a lot. I think much as this is a spot where everyone's like screw the Eagles, but this could be a huge turning point for us. I mean, you just mentioned how much this means, and this has to mean a lot more. And to get out of every issue, we need to put up points this week. And our defense would play great last week. They're not gonna not let up points. So I'm gonna go high. I see the over under is 46.5. I'm saying screw that. I think it's gonna be 38-35. I'm going for the Stars. I really want this offense to open up, but I know it can. I'm shooting super high. I hope this is a great game. I hope
you're right, to be honest, because I would love to see an offensive fireworks show. And especially after we just watch a defensive showdown. Like, I don't think I made my point all the way in the beginning in the sense that this game was not a bad game because despite the fact that the offenses stunk on both sides, they didn't stink because they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything because the defenses were so darn stout. Like, I was actively watching both sides just play lockdown defense, and that didn't anger me the way that as if they only scored 10 points because nobody was playing well. Like, that wasn't the case. It was just during the game, I was even thinking about it. I was like, man, they're throwing these blitzes and getting to Jalen in seconds. Like, what do you want him to do other than to hand it off or throw 5-yard pot passes? I don't know what he can do because clearly we can't stop their rush from getting there. It was kind of tough to think about. And on the back end, they were covering our guys well. So it was where the heck do you go? I think Jalen obviously missed a few, but it was definitely they were playing good defense, and that's a really good defense.
Yeah. I mean, and then you could make another point where they had 0 sacks. So he was getting the ball out, but at what point was he getting the ball out too quickly and being
exactly? He couldn't do anything with it. Is the point?
Yeah. And so then we had to keep running the rollout to Goddard because then we did that 18 different times.
Yeah, that's because it was the quickest ball to get out.
we should just run. We should run one play. We should just run the same exact play the entire game. Just just a rollout to Goddard or something the entire game. See if it works.
Honestly,
and then we should punt on third down this game. That way we don't have to waste time.
Remember when oh, never mind. You weren't there for that. But what is it? My point to that was to say that I think our defense is going to play well on Sunday. So I hope that that sticks. I'm hoping that you're not going to see the high-powered Lions offense that you always do because of our defense. But we will see. I think that the addition of Jalen Phillips, which we haven't talked about yet, before we go, I would definitely talk about Jalen Phillips. Had an awesome game. We briefly mentioned him, but his presence opened it up for everybody else too. You saw a better game out of Moro Ojomo. You saw a better game out of Jalen Hunt. saw a better game out of. I wouldn't say you saw a better game out of Nolan Smith because we haven't seen him in a while. But point being is that just adding that extra guy does open it up for everybody else, and it makes the back end coverage a little bit easier as well. And Jalen Phillips is, if he plays like he did last game, every game, then he would be an All-Pro. So, so far so good in that regard. And last but not least, it really sucks that Jair Alexander got traded to us for a round higher pick and then just retired.
Oh yeah.
We didn't talk about that.
That's fun. That's Howie magic.
Well, to be fair, like it really doesn't have much implication almost at all because the Ravens at the moment, even though I think, like you said, they're going to come back and somehow make the playoffs. At the moment, they don't have that great of a pick. We traded them our 6th round pick for Jair and their 7th. We'd be moving down like 10, 15 spots, like in the 7th round. Like, does that really matter? No. Like, I mean, the fact that it turns into you just did it for nothing is kind of like, oh, what the heck? But, it also doesn't matter.
No, it's fun. It's great. I hope that we win this week. We're all happy because Adoree Jackson's not going to get cooked this week by Jameson Williams at all. I'm sure that won't happen.
Certainly not.
He's a great corner again.
Well, you might see Ja'Cory Bennett on the field a little more often too, now that he's been reactivated. But we only got to see Ja'Cory Bennett for one game before he got hurt. I thought he looked better than the other guys while he was playing, but I guess it was such a small sample size that I can't say with certainty.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have fun.
Heck yeah,
it's going to be a great game. I hope it's a really good showdown on Sunday Night Football.
That it is. It's going to be a heavyweight battle. So make sure you stay tuned and come back next week to check on the review of this game and the preview of next week's game. And if you tuned into this one, thank you guys. We appreciate you. If you liked it, make sure to click that like button in the corner. And if you like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're back every week giving reviews and previews and just updates on the Eagles team. So make sure you do stay tuned with us. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.